We're here, folks. It is night 8 of the N1 Victory Tournament. I guess we can't really call it the last night, because the last night will be September 3rd, whenever there's one match left in the tournament to decide the winner. But we're getting damn close. I'm talking about August 28th, night 8 of the N1, which kicks off with Masaki Mochizuki versus Anthony Green in a pretty stellar opening matchup. Now, neither one of these guys have a ton of points, but Green is actually ahead of Mochizuki at this point. Mochizuki showed a little bit of a rough side here, tossing Green to the outside, battering him around out there. I don't think Green was expecting that. I think he was expecting a little bit more sportsmanship, but he didn't get it in that situation. So Green turned it up a little bit, not really in any kind of heel kind of way or rule-breaking way, but more aggressive. I saw a little bit more aggressiveness out of Green here. There he is with the Luthez press after the neck breaker that we just saw on the previous screen. He did a tope suicida. But Mochizuki, the Dragon Gate man, came back with kicks aplenty. Both of these guys seem to focus on the midsection of one another. Mochizuki, not downtrodden at all, having a terrible N1, having only one victory at this point. He really kept going no matter what. He showed no signs of being down and out whatsoever here. There he is with more kicks to Green, and both men just collapsed in a heap towards the end of this match. Both of them exhausted, not just from this match, but from all the matchups each one of them saw going forward. Green placed between the top and the middle ropes here with Mochizuki running in and with a big knee lift. This was the beginning of the end. This is a wicked move from Mochizuki. I mean, to just set a man in the ropes like that and fly into him with your knee in the midsection. Again, both guys seem to work over the other's midsection all match long. And Mochizuki, it wasn't long after that he hit a twisting, swinging brain buster. And amazingly, Green kicked out of this. I mean, that shows you Green's one tough son of a bitch to kick out of that knee lift and a swinging brain buster. And not only out of it, he then nailed Mochizuki with this move, which was excellent, but wasn't quite enough to hold Mochizuki down. So Green gets to the top rope and does his, I must have missed the screenshot, I have to apologize, does his walking, talking, flying. And that's where he lands that move right there. But Mochizuki continues to roll through, holds him up for the pinfall victory. There you see it, Mochizuki is your winner, ends the N1 with 4 points, which is a hell of a lot better than ending it with 0 or only 2, as he did have coming in here. Green will live to fight another day. I'm sure he will continue to work in Noah, which I can't wait to see. Maybe a rematch between these two would be a nice way to set things off when Green returns. But like I said, this was a good kickoff match. Nothing that's going to light the world on fire, but both guys working real hard to get another victory, and Mochizuki, and it had to be his experience. I mean, as the back of his tights say, he's been in this business since 1994, and while Green is a 10-year pro, which is lots of time in pro wrestling, Mochizuki is damn near 30 years in the business, and I think that was the difference here, which gave Mochizuki the opening win of Night 8 of the N1 tournament. Second match from August 28th. Masakatsu versus Jack Morris. Now, Jack Morris has stormed in here, showing he's a real deal beyond a shadow of a doubt. But Masakatsu, I had high hopes for him going into this, and I don't want to sit here and talk like he's had a bad tournament. He has not. I really had hoped when Michael Elgin, his former tag team partner, won half of the GHC Heavyweight Tag Team Champions with Kitamiya, whenever he left Noah, whether he'll come back or not remains to be seen. But when he left, I really had hoped the type and kind of push Michael Elgin seemed to be getting would fall to Masakatsu. I don't see why it couldn't. I just don't. Masakatsu could be that powerhouse, throw guys around kind of wrestler that Elgin is. And he started this tournament on fire, defeating some major players, including Funaki, in this tournament. But then he went on a skid here that really let me down, even though he still looks good. I guess if I had to determine what kind of mistake he's making, it's that he concentrates almost solely on setting guys up for that prison lock, which is great of a move as that is. I think he's overemphasizing that. Here you see a lockup. Jack Moore's surprisingly very, very strong. I mean, he's built. He's jacked. So I guess maybe it's not surprising, but Masakatsu is a bull of the woods, daddy. He is a monster, if you will. And Jack Morris kept up with him in that department. Here you see Jack Morris flying out with the tope suicida, flying off the top turnbuckles with a missile drop kick. And here you see Masakatsu going after the knee. Now, again, I can't sit behind a desk and really question the methods and the styles of a wrestler, especially one that I like and respect like Masakatsu. But Jack Morris played this match in many different styles. He was high-flying. He was ground wrestling. He was working the outside. And Masakatsu concentrated on that left knee, trying to take Jack Morris out here. Here you see it again, stretching that left leg out. Here you see it again, twisting that left knee and ankle. Here you see it again, working on that left knee. One more time, the left knee and ankle. And that is what I'm going to question here, at least to some degree. Morris played this game with multiple strategies, and I like that. It seemed to work. Masakatsu played the game like he's played so many others, and it worked for him for about half the tournament, and it stopped working. I think he should have shifted gears here, but instead he concentrated on that knee, trying to lock in that prison lock, trying to make Jack Morris submit, and never really got it fully engaged, including even there. He did have a nice hold there on the leg, but it wasn't quite what he is used to and what he gets guys in. And Jack Morris had to shake out the left knee, had to shake it, had to limp on it here or there. But overall, here you see him delivering an enziguri with it. It didn't really take him out that badly, even though, once again, Masakatsu drops him down like a backbreaker only on his knee. And there you see Jack Morris again using his legs, so kicking Masakatsu right in the frickin' nose with this high boot. So you know these leg attacks aren't affecting him too badly, because there's Jack Morris flying off the top rope with a forearm shot, picking Masakatsu up with an incredible spine buster and delivering a big, huge drop kick. So again, Masakatsu, I love the guy. I want to see him get a huge push. I do hope he gets a chance at Funaki's national title, since he did beat Funaki in this tournament amazingly. I mean, he beat Funaki. He should be able to beat almost anybody. But I just think he was easy to scout. I think his opponent saw what he was doing, especially about halfway through this tournament, and realized that if they just could withstand that or avoid it to the best of their ability, they could overcome him. And Jack Morris used technique and speed here, even though you see him getting nailed with a giant spear from Masakatsu here. I mean, look at that thing. That's a huge spear that's as good as anybody in this game. And an incredible sit-down pile driver. Now, when I see a guy survive one of these, I just think there's no beating him. I don't know how anybody survived these, but Jack Morris did. Delivers an F5, a huge power bomb, and this was a little scary. Hit this moonsault off the top rope, and he hit Masakatsu with his chin, basically, like I'm doing with this microphone. It was a scary look. If he would have missed him and hit his head on the mat like that, they could have been in some serious jeopardy. But he didn't. He nailed Masakatsu full force with his head and face, intentional or not, and that got him the victory. Jack Morris ends this tournament with 6 respectable points. More points than a lot of Noah guys, a lot of guys who've grown up at Noah, a lot of guys who've been a big part of this tournament for years. Jack Morris finishes ahead of them. Jack Morris beats Masakatsu in his final matchup, and he says he has a lot more to do in Noah. I'm looking forward to it. He's definitely earned my respect, and I can't wait to see what else he can do winning a big match like this. I hope Masakatsu regroups, goes after the national title, gets things in order, and really becomes the guy I think he can be. Honestly, I think he should have stayed in Congo. Of course I do. I think he should have stayed there. I think that would have given him the little bit of an edge that he needs, the little bit of an attitude that he needs, a little bit more friends that I think he needs, that will push him past his limits. I really think that's what he needs, and I think he would have benefited by staying in Congo, but that's just my opinion. It's neither here nor there. Jack Morris is the one I should be talking about. He's your winner, again, standing at 6 points at the end of his very first N1 tournament. Damn impressive. Next match on night 8 was Masato Tanaka versus Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. Started with a handshake, and then it got rough. This was the kind of match I really enjoy. 2 badass tough guys just beating the living hell out of each other. I really, really, look at this. The classic fish hook. How often do you see this? Once in a while you'll see, somebody in a robe stick one finger in somebody's mouth. But here's Wagner Jr. just stretching the hell out of the mouth of Tanaka. I know it's a simple move and nothing special, but stuff like this cracks me up in a good way. Like, I don't find it funny. I find it enjoyable. to see a guy acting so heelish and just doing something like that and have to be scolded and reprimanded by the referee. Wagner Jr. tosses Tanaka out. Now, keep in mind, Tanaka is one of the toughest, stiffest, hardcore guys in Japan, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I'm not talking about exploding barbed wire matches and shit like that. I'm talking about the ECW style of work. And here we got Wagner taking it to Tanaka in that way. Tanaka trying to fight back. But look, can you see what's happening here? This is Wagner Jr. biting the foot of Tanaka. Biting it. This guy, Wagner Jr., came into this match determined to go hard after one of the hardest, toughest son of a bitches in the sport. And I'm telling you, spoiler, it pans out. Here you see Tanaka getting the big tornado DDT, but Wagner responds with the octopus stretch, which is easier, simpler for him to do on the smaller in stature anyway. Tanaka just pulling at him pretty seriously, but Tanaka hits a big avalanche brainbuster, but immediately, I wasn't crazy about this spot. No, a lot of no-selling going on here. Wagner Jr. jumps up and hits a brainbuster on Tanaka, and they keep going back and forth in that way until Wagner Jr. headbutts, as you see here, Tanaka knocking them both down and the referee applying the double count. This was definitely two men that came across tough as hell, and it came down to who was just going to outpower, outmaneuver the other one. That's what this really came down to, and Wagner hits a big power bomb here. Tanaka hits a short range, meaning he was right on top of him, sort of like a Rainmaker-ish kind of sliding D, where he grabs the arm of Wagner Jr. and pulls himself in, gives him the sliding D. It's not enough to hold Wagner down. Seemed to fire Wagner up, who got up, gave him the Wagner driver, and that was it. I mean, this is about a 10-minute match, not really long, but this was probably, now, I think this was probably El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr.'s finest match in this tournament. Now, yes, I understand and remember he beat Fujita, but that match was sloppy. The ending sequence was sloppy. Here, Wagner Jr. came in and beat a guy who just beat the GHC heavyweight champion, Kenno. And he didn't do it easily. I mean, nobody beats Tanaka easily. But I was shocked at how much he exerted his power and strength against Tanaka. Maybe Tanaka got a little worn down in this tournament, more worn down than Wagner Jr. did, but this match sort of blew me away. I enjoyed it. It was back and forth, but in the ending sequence, it was all Wagner. He just seemed to get up after that avalanche brainbuster and go to work, and that did it. He won it a few short minutes after that move. And I think he just got super determined to do it, and it was very impressive. If he can continue wrestling like he did here, he's going to be somebody to watch going forward. No doubt about it. Wow. I don't even know what else to say about Masakatsu Funaki versus Takashi Sagura. A match that can show you anything can happen at any time. A match that can show you no matter what a badass Takashi Sagura is, and he is the killing machine badass. Masakatsu Funaki can beat anyone at any time. And yes, it's a spoiler because this match was about 57 seconds long. Started off with Masakatsu Funaki trying to draw in Takashi Sagura into his spiderweb, if you will, laying on his back. He has no problem with fighting out of the guard position, and anybody with a brain knows that, as Sagura does, but Sagura does try to work himself in there. Doesn't quite work out. They get in the ropes. They have to break it up. Then Takashi Sagura makes what I think was a horrible mistake. He just open palm strike slaps Funaki across the face. I mean, my mind is still blown. I'm sorry if I'm not presenting this well. Slaps him across the face. And this starts open palm strike war between the two. They go back and forth quite a bit until Masakatsu Funaki sees the opening, grabs the chokehold, ends the match. That's it. I mean, Takashi Sagura came in there looking pretty good, knows how to fight this guy. They fought once before. They know each other. They have somewhat similar styles, although Takashi Sagura is more bullheaded, more straightforward, and Funaki's more about fighting on defense and trapping you, luring you into his spiderweb, like I said. And again, thanks to Stu Fulton for that description that I continually use. And Takashi Sagura just went too crazy. I mean, he just started slapping, pissed Funaki off, and the second Funaki saw he had an opening in that neck, he grabbed it and won it, and there's your winner. Both guys end with 8 points, which is very respectable. Don't think it's going to get them to the end, but wow. A short match, but fun. I enjoyed it. Now, of course, I wouldn't want to see many matches end like this. Of course not. But it still goes to show you that even something this ridiculously short, because of the shock and awe of it, can still be damn good. Wow. Much like this match, this tournament is a beautiful thing. The N1 tournament, Day 8, Goji Ozaki versus Hideki Suzuki is up next. And Timothy Thatcher has returned to Japan. One half of the GHC Heavyweight Tag Team Champions is reunited with his partner Hideki Suzuki here. It's just really nice to see. And these two just stare each other down. Not for long. Don't panic. Before this matchup starts, two brutal warriors getting ready to go to war. And that's what this was. This was a war. Hideki Suzuki seems to be inspired since his loss to his stablemate, his faction mate, Fujita. And it showed here. Now, Goji Ozaki worked well. You can see it here. When he was on the ground with Hideki Suzuki for some time, he held his own. Looked really good with head scissors and leg locks and what have you. Really knew what to expect from Suzuki and did good. But Suzuki seemed to always gain control eventually. Even when he was in the down position, even when he was working defensively, he would come back and turn it back into offense. Goji Ozaki with a big shoulder block here. Goji Ozaki with the attempted machine gun chops, and Hideki Suzuki, I don't know if I've seen this, not in some time, Hideki Suzuki blocked every one. That told me right there that this was going to be a big match for Suzuki. But of course later, that's not going to continue to work. Goji Ozaki is going to get his machine gun chops in, and he did so. And his big fisherman suplex. But Hideki Suzuki seemed to be uninhibited by most of the offense that Goji Ozaki had to throw at him, and stormed back here, getting the octopus stretch on him, just twisting and turning him numerous different directions until Ozaki finally got to the ropes. But again, Hideki Suzuki would lock him up. Here you see him stretching his hands out, maybe moving small digits that isn't allowed, but Hideki Suzuki will stretch the rules once in a while if he has to. Here delivering a huge backbreaker. And now, this move is always impressive. You got to be careful when you put Goji Ozaki on the top rope like you're going to do something to him, because he will just muscle you up. Like his opponent could be on him in the corner, and Suzuki will muscle them up, literally power lift them up and let them go, drop them down. This wasn't quite as crisp as it normally looks with other opponents, because Suzuki's good at fighting this type of shit. But Suzuki did nail it, and it did take a lot out of Suzuki, so much so that he got his ass clotheslined, lariated shortly after that, but he kicked out and delivered a Gotch-style pile driver, taking Suzuki down, and I thought maybe it was over, but it wasn't. So he caught him in a German suplex, throwing him backwards, and then hitting this massive maneuver quickly after that, and locking in a chokehold. Look at Suzuki's face. I thought maybe this would end the way Funaki took out Sagura with a chokehold, because Goji Ozaki was not looking with it here at all, but he does get out of it. But I'm not sure that was a good thing for Suzuki, or for Shiozaki, because when he got out of it, Suzuki seemed like a man possessed. He seemed angry. He seemed infuriated, because then he began to deliver these crazy, hard, smashing right elbows to the back of the head and the neck of Suzuki as if he was trying to kill him. I mean, he just over and over, blow after blow. It almost made you uncomfortable. Just watching this, you thought, my God, man, he has to be out, right? But he kept raining them down and raining them down on the ear, on the temple, on the neck, on the head, over and over and over, until the ref finally backs him off and says, dude, I got to check this guy. He may be out, he may be done. And the ref's checking on him, and he's checking on him. But Hideki Suzuki makes this one mistake and goes over and interrupts the count to lift Goji Ozaki up. And I've spoke about things like this on this show before. There are times when an opponent will be down and out, and the guy who got him in that position wakes him up by continuing delivering punishment. And that's what Suzuki did here. He picked Shiozaki up to deliver more punishment, got himself lariated, clotheslined once again. Now, it was a short one, but you look at this, you can tell it was a devastating one. And this is where Shiozaki then tried to return the favors from those ridiculous right down elbows by delivering just whipped forearms. Just forearms, some fists, but mostly he doesn't want to be backed off by the refs. He's nailing with his big forearms, right? Just over, as if I'm doing that to the microphone, right? Just nailing Suzuki. And don't want to knock my microphone. You're going to see an edit clip there, because I I forearmed my microphone trying to show you what Ozaki was doing to Suzuki. But he really nailed him over and over again. But Suzuki locked in that underhook butterfly overhead suplex and got the pinfall. Stu Fulton commented that Suzuki really controlled this, and he did. Goji Ozaki did not look bad. He fought hard, but Suzuki came in here like a man possessed and very determined. And in about a 15-16 minute match, he beats up Goji Ozaki enough to get the pin and get the victory and pose with his tag team partner, one half of the GHC Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Tim Thatcher raises the hand of his partner, Hideki Suzuki, who looks poised to be one of the two finalists of this. Now, it's going to come down to what Kenno does. It's going to come down to a couple things. But he has 11 points, and that is massive in this tournament. So you could be looking at your first winner, your first block winner, going to the finals on September 3rd. That is tomorrow. I'm recording this on September 2nd. Going to push it out as soon as I can. Hopefully 10, 12 hours before tomorrow's show so you can see this, because I'm going to throw the preview of tomorrow's show at the end of this rather than doing two videos. But Hideki Suzuki with a huge, huge win over Goji Ozaki, looking as good as he's looked in this tournament. This was a scary match. Katsuhiko Nakajima, one of the biggest badasses in wrestling. If you don't know this, get with it. Versus one of the most uprising guys in the business. Not a star yet, but going to be. Kenno Okada. Kenno Okada was actually mentored a little bit by Nakajima on kicking, because Nakajima is the best kicker in the business. I don't care what anybody says. This started slowly. Now, Nakajima is known as being cocky, arrogant, and I don't mean as a gimmick. I mean, this guy just has a cool, badass demeanor about him that just, you got to see to believe. You know, he legitimately gets into a ring, not the least bit concerned. He knows how good he is. He knows how powerful he is. He knows what a badass he is. And a lot of the times, not a lot, but sometimes that can cost him. It's cost him matches because he's too reserved. He's too pulled back. He's too smiley and like, look at me, showtime, baby. You know, he didn't do that here. He had a little bit in it whenever Okada seemed to want to challenge him in the kicking department. That's just not smart on Okada's end. Even though Okada did nail, as you can see here, several good, solid kicks that made him look really good. But at one point, Okada is kicking Nakajima. Nakajima sweeps his back foot out as his front foot is kicking Nakajima. That's just how good, Stu Fulton pointed out, that's how good Nakajima is. It's incredible. And here you see Nakajima's challenging him. This is his cockiness, but it still wasn't as bad in this match as it often is. Almost, I'm not saying he was afraid of this kid at all, but it's almost a little reserved. You know, the last thing he wanted to do was get upset by this Okada kid who hasn't won a match in this tournament, okay? But at the same time, just go ahead and kick me. Go ahead and bring on your kicks. And it was a kick battle. It was a kick war. That's absolutely what this was. Nakajima gets him down here, and this is where he just goes back to front. You'll see someone like Bryan Danielson do this. Kick in the front, kick in the back, kick in the front, kick in the back, volleying back and forth for some time. But this was the scary part. Look at this. That's legitimate as hell. He runs in. What happens is Kenno Okada attempts to do the roll-up on Katsuhiko Nakajima that he's gotten on every single guy he's wrestled. He got into the tournament by beating Yoshiki Inamura by getting this. He wraps his arm around their waist, runs them forward into the ropes, comes back with them, somersaults sort of backwards into a bridge, and beat Yoshiki Inamura with that move, and has tried to beat every opponent he's faced with that move unsuccessfully. Here, he tried it with Nakajima. Nakajima just held onto the ropes, and it was awkward, and the kid fell off, and Nakajima turned around, ran at him, and kicked him legitimately in the fracking face. Knocked this kid out. Oh, he's not safe. He's not. Look, I don't believe he tried to do it, but he's out here. Look at the referee. Nakajima felt bad. You could tell he's looking. He bent down and checked on him, but this kid is out. He's legitimately knocked out. Look at the attendance. Yoshiki Inamura, the guy he beat, and with the roll-up that was successful, one of the guys there with the mohawk checking on him as the ref raises Nakajima's hand. But this was scary. They had to bring the stretcher in. This was no work. There's no way this was a work. Noah later announced that Kenno Okada's jaw is broken and he will not wrestle on tomorrow's show. and he was scheduled to. So he's not taking a vacation. He had his jaw broken. He was kicked. He was knocked the hell out. You can look at him. I mean, his eyes are open there, but he is still loopy. He is still out of it. Nakajima just knocked this kid the F out and advances. Will he, if he wins this tournament, if he advances to the finals of this tournament, it'll be the third year in a row. Kazuhiko Nakajima, he's won it 2 years in a row. This would be the third year in a row he'd get in it. But it's not official yet. There's a match or two left to happen. 2 matches in this card that will determine who goes to the finals. But what a performance here by Nakajima. As scary as it was, and as I believe it was unintentional. You had to see how Nakajima reacted. He was concerned. But it is the danger of facing Kazuhiko Nakajima. He is a legit fighter. He can legit beat your ass. And even, with a botch, a mistake, that's how Noah is. It's tight. It's snug. They lay their shit in. And stuff like this can happen. It's happened in the past, not just Nakajima, but with others. And if Noah doesn't start pushing Nakajima even bigger as the knockout artist, they're fools. They're crazy. They got something with this guy. Yes, it's a shame that he legitimately knocked out the DD champion Endo a few months back. Yes, it's a shame he legitimately knocked Kinya Okada out. It is. But it's happened. Take advantage of it. Go to the YouTube page that you're obviously on if you're watching this video. Find my video on Kazuhiko Nakajima and my belief in how Noah should use him, and tell me how I'm wrong. He just continues to set himself up as a legitimate badass who I think should be on top of the company easily. But we'll see what happens. This was great. I'm going to be honest with you. As a Congo guy, I was highly disappointed in this, so I guess it tells you the winner already if you don't know. Kenno versus Kazuyuki Fujita. Love the look of this. I mean, Kenno's been promising to beat this guy, to take out the old men in Noah, starting with Fujita, and he just doesn't do it. I mean, he wrestled. He did some ground wrestling with Fujita for a while that looked good. He did some standing kicks and strikes that looked pretty good. But basically, this was another match of Fujita just beating the shit out of somebody and them not being able to do anything about it. Here he knocks Kenno out of the ring and invites him back in. He should have taken him up on the invite, because when Kenno refused to get back in the ring, Fujita just goes out, and even though he gets kicked for his efforts, he takes over and just thrashes Kenno from pillar to post. Literally, post to post to post, ramming his head into them. And he never lost control after that. He gets Kenno in this single leg Boston Crab, gets him in like that seated figure 4 that he does. Now, look, I've done videos defending Fujita, and I'm still not here to rip on him. He's good. He's powerful. He's unbelievably experienced in MMA. He's one of Inoki's last disciples. He's legit. I'm not one of these guys that hate him because he's an old man with an attitude problem and all these other idiotic things people say. But to watch the GHC heavyweight champion pretty much dominated like this all match long, it was annoying. I feel like that Kenno should have gotten a little bit more in this match than he did, but he didn't. I mean, just look at these screenshots. Yeah, he started getting some kicks, but they barely affected Fujita. Fujita just, there a while, Fujita fell down for one of them. But he's right back up, getting in Kenno's face, daring him to do it again, and Kenno does it again, starts the kicks again, does the double knee stomp from the second rope. But this is where it got really ridiculous, in my opinion. Kenno resorts to the ball shots, kicking in between the legs. Now, on Twitter and such, he's saying he kicked him in the inner thigh, but it's clear that he didn't. This clearly told a story of a desperate man doing anything he could to beat Fujita, a man that's almost unbeatable, except for El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. What the hell? I don't know. There's Kenno getting slammed. There he is with another low kick. There were 3 or 4 of these. Kick to the family jewels. But Fujita fights back from that. Now, granted, the referee gives him some time eventually and just pushes Kenno away and gives him some time to recover. And he does recover and just starts beating the shit out of Kenno again, clotheslining Kenno to hell, kicking Kenno in the head, beast bombing Kenno, pinning Kenno with a ridiculous pose, and standing tall over our GHC heavyweight champion. Once again, Fujita unstoppable. Unstoppable, except for a fluke loss here or there in this tournament. I mean, this just beat Kenno out of the contention to win this thing. Gives that block to Hideki Suzuki, who I have no problem with. But look, I'm a defender of Fujita. He's damn good, and I have no problem with that. Where I have a problem is his domination of Congo guys. First, he takes the title off Nakajima. Not easily, but not with much struggle. Then he comes in here and just beats down the current GHC champion like he's nothing, like it's some kind of WWE Saturday night main event jobber match. It's disgusting. I don't even have a real problem with him winning, but my God, this match was so one-sided, it was ridiculous. And again, Kenno resorting to low blows, like a little skinny dweeb on the playground being picked on by a giant bully. You know, you're going to do whatever you have to do to try to get him off of you. And that's how this came across. I was really a dejecting, disheartening match. It really was. Again, losing is one thing, but getting in there and pretty much being humiliated, seemingly having no answer to anything Fujita does. Nothing. Some kicks that did some damage, but they eventually shook off. I mean, any damage these guys, meaning Nakajima, Kenno, some others, do to this guy, he shakes off. But yet he lost to El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. And I'm nothing against Wagner Jr., but come the hell on. This is a GHC heavyweight champion. Why is he getting beaten pillar to post? Who in Pro Wrestling Noah doesn't like Congo? I don't know. The match was what it was. It was another beatdown match by Fujita, and I didn't like it. It wasn't like a bad, sloppy match for that reason. It was just ridiculous. And again, this coming from a Fujita defender who has no problem with him being a star. I have no problem with him being a beast. But some things get a little ridiculous, and this was too ridiculous. Sorry. Main event time of the N1 Night 7 tournament. Pro Wrestling Noah saw Kaito Kiyomiya take on Satoshi Kojima. Both guys coming in here with 8 points. Both guys looking incredible, even though Kiyomiya lost his first 2 matches. That's the story. First 2 matches. And he's had to fight back from the bottom ever since. Satoshi Kojima has looked dominant in this thing. But he did lose to Nakajima, who was sitting ringside for this match. So, if Kojima would win this, Nakajima by tiebreaker would go to his 3rd final in a row, and he won the last 2. If Kiyomiya wins this, he goes to the final to face Hideki Suzuki, because he holds a win over Nakajima in the tiebreaker. This match started out, these two just stalking each other, trying to figure each other out. Kiyomiya was aggressive. That's one thing we've seen from Kiyomiya as of late. Since those first 2 losses, he has been a lot more aggressive. He attacked the right arm of Satoshi Kojima, knowing that that's what that strong arm lariat comes from. Knowing that the lariat taught to him by the one and only, the legend, Stan Hansen, comes from that. But keep in mind, as Kiyomiya should have, Kojima can hit a lariat with his left arm as well. But again, Kiyomiya just continually works over this right arm, hammers it into the ring post. He pulls out all the Keiji Muto stuff, the Great Muta stuff, which I love. Look, Keiji Muto is possibly my favorite wrestler of all time. Ric Flair is up there, but having worked with Ric Flair one time in my life on an independent show, I was a commentator. Didn't do anything to me personally, but he was such a pain in the ass all night long for everybody that did have to work directly with him, that I lost a lot of respect for him. I just did. Don't hate him, nothing like that. Still realize he's possibly the best wrestler in the world, but Keiji Muto probably bumped ahead of him in my favorites list just for that night. So I love this elbow drop. I love all the work he does. The Shining Wizards, the figure 4s, the dragon screws. I love all that. And Kaito Kiyomiya pulled all that out. Here he is getting machine gun chopped by the one and only Kojima, the legend, the Grand Slam champion of Japan, one of only... was it at 4? I think he's the 4th guy to have ever done that. Kojima got all his stuff in. He got the elbow from the top rope. Got to throw his elbow support pad on both arms. First it's on his left and later on his right before he hit his lariats. He hit his DDT twice. Now, what did I tell you the last time we talked about a Kaito Kiyomiya match? I told you there's your winner. I'm still sticking with that. Obviously, that's telling you he's winning this matchup. Sorry to jump ahead. But I need to make a point here as we talk about this match. The story being told about Kaito Kiyomiya is that his heart The supernova heart is firing on all cylinders, is shooting across the Noah skies, and nothing can bring it down. Not the lariat, not the DDT. Nothing is stopping this. Not Nakajima's kicks. No, nothing can stop this. Yes, he'll be down. He'll be tired. He'll be exhausted. He will be spent, but he will always rise back up, just like he did here with this big missile drop kick off the top rope, then got hit with a second DDT, because you just can't stop this man. He flies in with a high flying knee, and I may be sounding sarcastic, but I'm not. I'm not trying to be. This is the story of Kaito Kiyomiya in this tournament. He is the guy, the comeback kid, who has endured so much that you can't put him down. German suplex here, way high up on his tiptoes, doesn't get the count, but he comes in with a flying knee, gets it blocked by a lariat from Kojima, but that had to hurt Kojima's right arm that has been battered all match long. So, but he does use that same right arm to clothesline Kiyomiya over the top rope and hit him with a cozy cutter. And it looked like he was in trouble, but Kiyomiya whips out the figure four, handed down to him by Keiji Muto, and has Kojima in a very rough spot. After he gets out of that figure four, here come the Shining Wizards. We saw him beat Takashi Sagura with 5 of these in a row. And here I believe it was 4. Over and over he hits the Shining Wizard on Satoshi Kojima. Is this another match where he will win with multiple Shining Wizards to a Legend's head? No. Here comes Kojima back with that Western, that strong arm lariat, knocking Kaito Kiyomiya for a loop, and hits him with a second one, knocking him for a loop. Hits him with a brainbuster. But what have I been telling you since the other week and today? What have I been telling you? You don't stop Kaito Kiyomiya, who comes back and hits him with a Frankensteiner. Just whips it out, just like Keiji Muto does. Looks like he might have won the match that way, but no. He backs up and hits another Shining Wizard, the 5th one. 10 Shining Wizards in a row, leading to victory again for the boy who can't be stopped. The supernova that has exploded across the skies as the ark sails upon the waters. You can see the sign shooting down from the heavens that this, and it's not over, folks, but in my opinion, this is your N1 winner. He will go on to face Hideki Suzuki. Just faced him off there a little bit. This GIF comes from Hisami's page. The Noah archive, always found at WrestlingDoneRight.com. Link there on the Noah Network. And she got it from Wrestle Universe. But this is just a quick clip, a GIF of the two that will face off in this matchup, which I'm going to preview in the next segment if you stay here and hang out and watch that. But what a tournament this was. Not officially over until these two face off, Hideki Suzuki versus Kaito Kiyomiya. But the biggest part of it is over. We will go on till tomorrow morning here on the East Coast. I think it's at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wrestle Universe. The finale. There you see it. Kaito Kiyomiya versus Hideki Suzuki. It is going to be incredible. I'll tell you what I think about it coming up right now. Hey guys, welcome to the final segment of the show. I have broken these up every week. I did miss 1 week preview. I missed the preview for the 28th. The show we just went over, I did not preview that. I apologize. That's the only thing I missed out of every day of the N1 is one preview. And I'm sorry, I work so much, I struggle to get it. But we're going to add this preview on the same video here because I just don't want to upload 2 videos. I want to get things done and get ready to watch and then later review what we're going to preview right now, which is the final night of the N1 tournament. Only one N1 tournament match. That's the final match. We'll get to that last. But these other matches are not in order. I just grabbed the shots, put them on my computer as I saw them, and didn't take the time to put them in order. You have to sue me for that, I guess. Stephen P. New, if that's something you want to do, but I don't think he'll sue for such a screwy thing. I've been doing this for a while, can you tell? We're talking about tomorrow, September 3rd, 3 a.m. if you're on the East Coast like me. You have to do the time conversion if you're somewhere else. We're talking about a 6-man tag team match that sees the great Muta, Keiji Muto here, the great Muta, in his last match in Osaka as he winds down his career. Now, I got to admit, I don't get the team here. I don't understand the team. The great Muta teaming with Nosawa and the great Okan. I don't get it. I don't watch enough New Japan. I see it here or there. I used to be a big advocate and fan of New Japan, and I don't hate it now. It's not as good as Noah. Simple as that. I guess Okan, maybe a similar gimmick. I don't know. Nosawa, I guess because Muta's a heel, a bad guy, a demon, if you will. I don't understand the demon thing a whole lot either. That's a Japanese thing. He didn't profess to be a demon when he wrestled in America. But here he is, one of my favorite, if not my favorite wrestler ever, the Great Muta, teaming with Nosawa and the Great Okan to take on Tadasuke, Manabu Soya, and Kenno. Well, you know damn well Manabu Soya is being pinned here because that's all they use him for. I don't mean to be an ass, but this is the truth. Manabu Soya doesn't win, so he'll lose here. But it's all about Muta anyway. Everyone wants to see the Great Muta. Everyone wants to see the Mist. Everyone wants to see whatever Keiji Muto is still capable of pulling off at this age, which is a decent amount. He's just nowhere near as fast. But hey, this is nostalgia. This is fun. This is goodbye to one of the legends, one of the all-time greats. So it is what it is. I look for Manabu Soya to be pinned by the Great Muta here. Next up, we got a matchup that sees Mochizuki, Tanaka, Goji Ozaki, and Marufuji teaming up. I mean, this is what, the M's Alliance plus Goji Ozaki, even though the M's Alliance doesn't seem to be around anymore. That's pretty much what this is, teaming with Goji Ozaki to take on the Sagura Army. We're talking about Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., Timothy Thatcher, Fujita, and Kendo Kashin. If you've been watching this channel long at all, you know I don't like Kendo Kashin. I'll probably watch this match because of the other 7 guys in it that I respect and like a lot. But Kendo Kashin takes a big dump on it. I don't get this type of gimmick in pro wrestling, Noah. Oh, we gotta have variety. Go watch AEW shit. Go watch SmackDown and Raw. I want to see hard-hitting, bull of the woods, tough as hell, manly professional wrestling. I don't want to see joke characters yucking it up, acting like a fool, like Kendo Kashin. This match, I lean towards the Sagura Army because they're a unit, because they got the almost unbeatable Fujita, because they got Timothy Thatcher returning, wanted to make a show. And Mochizuki's coming off how many losses in the N1, so I suspect he'll be pinned here by somebody. This match doesn't light the world on fire for me just because of Kendo Kashin. I'm sorry. Can't stand the dude. Dragon Bane versus Alpha Wolf, a lucha match. It'll be over the top. It'll be crazy. It'll be flips and dives and flips and dives and flips and dives. Oh, and I'm repeating myself. Well, so will this match. Sorry. No, I do not hate either one of these guys. I do not begrudge them this opportunity. Nothing like that. This, again, like Kendo Kashin, maybe a little bit worse, I don't know, is not for me. This extreme lucha stuff that is nothing but who can be the biggest daredevil does nothing for me. I don't know who wins this. I don't care who wins this. Super Crazy versus Hajime Ohara. This is actually the opening match. I did see that. This is the opening match. Should be pretty solid. Super Crazy, I love how he's modified his working style with his age and his weight gain. And I don't say that insultingly to him. It just is what it is. We all get there. Just about all of us, except, guys like Funaki. But he works really well, I think. His modified, more rougher, tougher, I'll stretch you and break you kind of style works. Ohara, I think, has been great since going to Congo. He hasn't won a title or anything, so maybe not great, but he's been solid. He's been good. He looks good. I'm going to pick Ohara to win this. Should be a good, decent opening match. Oh, man. I like the team of Takashi Sagura and Satoshi Kojima. I mean, you talk about a badass team. They're 2 badass dudes. Now, they're facing Shuhei Tanaguchi and Yoshiki Inamura. Look, Tanaguchi hasn't done much since leaving the Funky Express. I think he should have stayed there. I'm not a big, goofy gimmick guy, as you clearly know, but he was better in the Funky Express. He was more interesting. He had a personality. Now he's just some boring guy in black trunks who doesn't win. And I don't think he wins here. There's no way I see that. Inamura's great. Inamura is one of the toughest, baddest guys in Noah, but he doesn't win a whole lot either at this point just yet. He lost to Kenya Okada, couldn't make it into the N1 tournament. So I do not see these two beating Takashi Sagura and Satoshi Kojima. I think that's an interesting team. I would kind of like to see them go out to the tag titles or stick together for a while. I really like that team. I do, and they win this match, in my opinion. Next, we got the Noah Juniors, the crazy Noah Juniors. Kai Fujimura, Yuya Susumu, and Hayata. Hayata, the current junior heavyweight champion, taking on Yohei, Seiki Yoshioka, and Asushi Katoge. This will be your typical crazy, and I don't mean like the lucha match. I mean just these guys will hit everything they have on each other. They will double team, triple team. They will probably fight before the bell and after the bell. It's the Noah Juniors. This is what they do. They're contemptible all the time. They wake up in a mood ready to fight. And this will be a fight. Hard to call. I think I see Kai Fujimura going down here. He's just not winning at this point. He has won. He won one match when he's pretty much knocked out cold, and Ogawa put him on top of Nosawa for the win. But for the most part, he doesn't win too many matches yet. He will likely go down here. Seiki Yoshioka has looked damn good since leaving Stinger. You got to tell him that. You got to give him that. You got to give him that. And he probably pins Kai Fujimura here for the victory for his team in a pretty solid six-man junior match. This is a hodgepodge of a match. We got Muhammad Yone, Alejandro, and Masakatamiya. I mean, we got a Funky Express guy, we've got a luchador, and we've got a big badass taking on one of the biggest junior heavyweights in the world, Shuji Kondo, as he teams with Katsuhiko Nakajima, guy who's going to be pissed off that he didn't win the N1, even though he was up there in points with the rest of them. A guy who just broke the jaw of Kenya Okada. And Funaki, who just beat Takashi Sagura in less than a minute. So I got to go with Congo here, right? Congo, baby. Congo. Of course I'm biased, but just look at this. They're most likely taking out Alejandro, the smallest guy. Shuji Kondo's a junior heavyweight, but barely. Barely. I don't know what his weight is, but it's got to be just on the tip. But Nakajima and Funaki, such a badass. Masakatamiya showed me a lot in the N1 tournament, and I think he could maybe beat Funaki here to definitely get a claim on a national title championship match, maybe, but I don't think so. I think he'll stand up to him good and tough and remind him that he beat him in the N1 tournament and ask for a title shot, maybe here. But I see Congo winning this match, and something's up with Nakajima. I don't want to say he's going to turn on Congo. I can't see that. But something's up with him. He's not happy he didn't win the N1. He mentioned that he has another idea or possibly a plan. Just something to keep an eye on. Not sure what it means. Here we got Jack Morris teaming with Daiki Inaba to take on Anthony Green and Stallion Rogers. Now, this will be great. Daiki Inaba is one of the toughest guys in Noah. He can take a beating like nobody. I mean, maybe Kaito Kiyomiya can take a little bit more, but there aren't many people that can take a beating like Daiki Inaba and keep going. Jack Morris has proven to all of us, surely you're in agreement here, that he is the real deal. Same way with Anthony Green. Stallion Rogers didn't get it into the N1, which I think is kind of a bummer. I actually like him a little more than Green, and that's not insulting Green. It's just personal preference. I think Green and Rogers win this based on their familiarity with one another. They tag a fair amount. They wrestle each other a fair amount. They know each other inside out and upside down. You can't say that for Morris and Inaba. I think Inaba likely loses here, even though he's tough as hell. Like I said, I don't see Jack Morris taking a loss, but I see Green and Stallion Rogers coming out on top. I just think they're the deeper, solid tag team. Did we already go over this? Yes, we did. I got a double in here. Sorry about that. We've got a title match for the GHC, Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Finally, Chris Ridgway has worked out his visa issues and returned to Pro Wrestling Noah to team with Yoshinari Ogawa, taking on, who else? Paros Del Mal, Eita, and Kotaro Suzuki. Eita had stolen that GHC Junior Tag title for weeks, a month maybe, the entire N1 tournament time, ran around with it, mouthing off as he always does. They've had matches against each other during this tournament that have been thrown out. What else is new? This match will be legitimate. I believe it's for the title, so there won't be quite as many hijinks, though both teams will get away with as much as they can. I'm sorry, especially Paris Demal, but hey, Stinger isn't innocent. That's for sure. Honestly, I've said time and again, I'm tired of this feud. Doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's bad wrestling. Doesn't mean Noah, that's a strike against Noah. Nothing like that. Just on a personal level, I am ready to see these two teams wrestle other people. I just am. And this is a tough match to call. Ogawa and Ridgeway have held these titles for a little while, but most of their title reign, Ridgeway has been away, unable to get visa issues worked out. If there's fear of that happening again, they could, drop the titles for that reason. But I think they hold on to him here. I think they beat Eita and Kotaro Suzuki. I still think Kotaro Suzuki isn't going to be in Paris de Mall for a long time. I don't know how long it's been. It's been long enough. But I think he's got to get away from them. I think he's a babyface at heart. Not, like baby hugging, high-fiving fan favorite, but he's a guy people want to root for. And nobody wants to root for Paris de Mall. I mean, maybe some of the sickos out there, the weirdos, but for the most part, Paris de Mall is unlikable. And that's a good thing. They're a heel group. That's what they're supposed to be. So kudos to them. But people want to like Kotaro Suzuki. They do. So I'm not saying this is his fall away here. I'm hoping maybe it's the beginning. But I'm going to say the titles stay on Stinger. They had him for a little while, but barely gotten to defend them. So because of that, I think they'll get to continue to defend them. And this will be solid, but a whole lot of brawling. Finally, it's been quick, guys, but it's been a long day for me doing these videos. I had 8 long matches from the N1 and this card to review. And that's not a complaint. It's just sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes my voice is tired. I have water. I should drink a whole lot more because my throat starts wearing out. But we got the main event. The N1 tournament main event. Who saw this coming? I know I didn't. I don't know if I recall anybody. I heard people saying Kaito Kiyomiya. You're always going to think this kid stands a shot at this tournament. He's the future. We all know that. But Hideki Suzuki, not because he's not great. I just don't think anybody really saw him in the finals here. If you did, drop a comment. Let me know you saw it and why and how. What led you to think that. But the story this is going to tell is the continuation, the finale, the climax of the story I'm telling you they've been telling. And that is the Supernova, Kaito Kiyomiya, working his way back from 0-2 by overcoming everything, overcoming pain, overcoming adversity, overcoming being stretched, overcoming being so young, overcoming all these veterans, and now he's going to overcome catch as catch can. Yes, Kaito Kiyomiya is going to win this, but it's going to be brutal. It's probably, I bet it's 45 minutes long, at least. He is going to suffer. Hideki Suzuki's going to make this kid suffer. He's going to stretch him. He's going to work him. He's going to beat him. He's going to pound him. He's going to take him on the outside and work him over. Hideki Suzuki's going to look like he has his way with Kaito Kiyomiya before he storms back in the last 10 minutes of this match or so with a heart as big as his feet. That's just a wisecrack statement from that stupid Ring of Powers on Amazon. If you aren't familiar with it, you're not missing anything. But no, Kaito Kiyomiya is it's the story of the rise of the supernova, the explosion, the streaking across the skies as the arc sails across the waters of the supernova, as he blazons through pro wrestling Noah and any and everything that they all can throw at him. That's the story being told here, and we're going to see the climax. We're going to see a guy who can be a mean bastard from Sagura-gun, Hideki Suzuki, work this kid over inside out and upside down, but in the end, Kiyomiya is going to overcome. He's going to refuse to submit to things that people are not going to be able to, they're going to gasp and not be able to believe that he can hold on, that he made it to the ropes, that he broke the hold, what have you. That's what this match is going to be. Dominance by Suzuki for a little while until you start to see the shine, the return, the rising of Kaito Kiyomiya and his determination to win this and him doing so. This is the build. This is it, folks. Anybody that wanted to see Kaito Kiyomiya on top, really on top, you want the young guys on top, here it is. You better be watching. You better be tuned in. You better be purchasing Wrestle Universe to see what you all bitch about. The old men going down to the young crew. Here he comes. The supernova stands tall at the end. Write it down. I told it to you. I'm going to be right. Wait and see. If I'm not, hey, I'm fine with that. But I'm right. I'm Adam Lavelle of WrestlingDoneRight.com, the Noah Network. Please go there for all the links you need, including to Haisami's Noah Archive, where she interprets everything in the world that's pro wrestling Noah, every interview, every press conference, everything. And plus gives you her views on the matches before they happen, after they happen, much like I do, only she does it all in writing form. Check that out. Send me a friend request on my Facebook page. I only talk wrestling there. Follow me on Twitter. I only talk wrestling there. Please like these videos and subscribe to the page. And hey, check out my MLW Major League Wrestling Tonight page as well. Subscribe there. The only American wrestling I'm ever going to cover in the foreseeable future. I appreciate your support. I thank you for joining me. And I'll see you again sometime very soon after tomorrow's N1 Victory Tournament finale show.